So what features are important on a camera? So the most important one is that it records digitally. We don't want any, we're not shooting with Kodachrome or Kodak film or Fuji film. We don't want to get it processed. You want digital today, guys. So if anyone has an old film camera, don't use it for video marketing. Next. You've got to shoot HD quality. We're in an HD world today. You don't have to shoot 4K. Don't have to go crazy here, but it should be shooting HD. It should have the ability to take an external microphone. Why is that important, folks? Yes. So sound makes up 50% of a video. So if you have bad sound, guess what? People are not going to watch your video. You want to have the ability to attach it to a tripod, and there's ways to do that with even a smartphone or a iPad. Ability to control focus and exposure. The last thing you want is video that's either too dark or too light or out of focus. People will not watch it. And you want the ability, this is not a mandatory one, but you want the ability that you can pull like an SD card or something out of it. You don't have to go to the trouble of attaching that device physically to a computer. So here's some tips for making great looking videos. So lighting, I mentioned it 3 times here because it's super important. Do we have questions or you wanted to add something to the list?
Add something.
Go for it.
Some form of keeping the camera steady.
Great. Anyone else want to add a thought about making good video? That was an excellent one. Yes.
Simplicity.
Okay. Storytelling. Excellent.
Fully charged battery.
What's that?
Fully charged.
I like it. I have one related to that. Yes.
Sound.
Sound. Okay. So here we go. So, but we're just talking about, yes. Yes, we're talking about that too. So when we're talking about lighting, if you're shooting outside, folks, I highly recommend you don't shoot in direct sunlight. Find a tree that you can stand under or whatever. You'll look 1,000 times better if you're not going to be squinting. It's not going to be harsh lighting. Even an overcast day is actually, I know it doesn't sound great, but an overcast day is a much better day to shoot if you're going to be on camera. So again, avoid bright objects. So shooting a video like this, unless you intentionally want to shoot against a white is very attracting to the eye and it distracts you away from the person, and you don't want a busy background. We talked about a tripod. That's an excellent one that you need to do. And clean audio. Clean audio is extremely important. We talked about that. And if you can, to keep your video content interesting, you want to shoot from multiple angles. You want to shoot from different places. So because we get bored really quick. So, you know, you're getting to stare at me for a long time. I'm sure some of you are fading already. But if you watch video content, literally after 5 or 10 seconds, you will lose interest. So you want to keep that audience that's watching it interested. And so the other thing you can do is what's called B-roll, which is kind of that cutaway footage that you see in a newscast or something else. Yes?
Is there an optimal length of videos
That is a great question. And there is no magic answer to that. It all depends on where the content is being consumed and where that, let's say, that potential customer is in the journey. So if someone is really into your brand, they go to your website and you're going to spend 30 minutes explaining something that they really want to know how to do, they will watch it for 30 minutes. But if you have a cold lead and you show them a video that's 30 minutes, guess what? Ain't going to cut it. But what I recommend in terms of a website, especially a homepage of a website, 2 to 3 minutes max. 2 to 3 minutes max. You don't have to do 30 seconds. You're not doing a TV spot. 2 to 3 minutes max. Why? We know from statistics that people will stay on your website for at least 2 minutes because you have a video. Okay? So 2 to 3 minutes. Yes?
With the different angles, are you recommending multiple cameras or just moving the tripod around and then editing it?
You know, so you just kind of, you shoot something, you move around. Yeah, you don't need multiple cameras. If you have a smartphone, just go to different places. It depends what kind of video we're talking about. So if you're doing if you're a roofer and you want to show how you do a roof, you shoot something, then you move to some other part, you shoot it differently, just kind of keep it interesting, right? All right, so I'm going to kind of pick up the pace a little bit because I have a lot to share with you guys. So when it comes to a smartphone with doing great quality video content, it's really important with a smartphone that the lighting is even, that it's not really contrasty or really bright and really dark. The phones don't really do well in those situations. You'll have either the person will be too bright or too dark. So try to find even illumination when you're using your smartphone. Keep the phone still. There's many ways of doing that. Use the back camera when possible because it's a better camera than the one in the front. Yes?
When you're saying with this, I've noticed with a smartphone, even when you try to take pictures, sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's, it's too bright. So is it indoors or outdoors? What would you recommend?
You can do either. Just you want to make sure you have enough light. So shooting by a window is always great, having some artificial light source. So when it doesn't know where the lights, when it's confusing light sources to it, like there's a light here and there's a light there, or there's something bright in the scene, the phones are not that bright. They're not that bright when it comes to exposure. Yes?
Back camera. So if you're videoing yourself, how do you use the...
Well, so you're going to, no, of course, when you're shooting yourself, you have no choice. Okay, but if you have a choice, I'm asking you to use the back camera as much as possible. Shoot horizontally, right? Don't be doing this. Please don't do this. Whenever you've seen a TV that looks like this, whenever you've seen a computer that looks like this.
Shaky cam.
Yes, well, I'm just talking about in terms of orientation. Shoot this way, please. It's probably going to change over time to this, but for right now, shoot horizontally. Use an external audio source. We'll talk more about that. And put your phone in airplane mode, please. The last thing you want is while you're shooting, you get an awesome text message, or it starts beeping, or your alarm goes off, or whatever it is. So, you know, it is a device that's not necessarily just meant to be a video camera. So make sure you turn that off. And one of the cool features, I have an iPhone 7, slow motion. Do slow motion. It makes things look incredible. Obviously, it's only appropriate with something with action. And then to the point before with the battery, also remember to empty your phone. The last thing you want to do is go out there, you're ready to shoot, and because you have such a huge, music library on your phone, you've got no room to shoot video. Video is going to consume a lot of space. So the 3 things you need to know how to address. Number 1, and this was brought up already, camera stabilization. Number 2, we talked about lighting and audio. These are the 3 things you need to look at. So here are some options. Again, I did some homework for you guys here. This is a Joby Gorilla pod. This is a type of tripod. It kind of looks like this, a little beefier than this. Okay, it's great for several types of cameras, whether you have a smartphone, a digital SLR, or a camcorder. If you don't have a tripod, this is a great investment. Obviously, they're not very tall, so you can't, if I was wanted to do a video of myself and I was going to set this up, this would be a little bit of a problem here, guys, So this is good for on a tabletop, of course.
That can make you a follower.
Absolutely, I'm all for that, all for that. So it costs less than $20. You can get it on Amazon. You get everything on Amazon, right? And the only thing you will need, and you'll see it here, is you'll get one of those tripods, but you need one of these little adapters here on the back, which will allow you to hold a phone which doesn't have a mount for a tripod. Okay, so we got that. So let's look at some other ones. Obviously, a tripod. Now, when it comes to video, you want really, if you're serious about this, you want a video tripod. And the difference between a video tripod and a photo tripod is you can't really do pans with a photo tripod. It's not meant for the camera to be moving while you're taking a picture. This kind of tripod will have what's called a fluid head. That's what you're going to want to look for. These will cost roughly around $70. If you wanted a photography version, it's half the price, about $35. Again, you can buy all the stuff on Amazon. I gave you a link to one. I'm not loyal to this product. I'm just giving you an example of something I liked on the internet. You can buy ones that are more expensive, less expensive. It's really up to you. And I already talked about that. Okay. Now, there's another way to go with camera stabilization. This only works with a smartphone, which is, I'm sure you've seen all these gyros and things like this. This is a gimbal. This allows you to shoot completely smooth video with a smartphone. I actually just ordered one of these on Black Friday, so I wish I could have helped you out with that. You would have saved $100 on this. It would have been $199. This is by a company that DJI, which is the company that does all those drones. So you see those drones? These are the same folks. There is a version that's really inexpensive. This is a Chinese version for $99. So if you like using your iPhone to do videos and you're into blogging and talking on camera, or you want to do that, this might be something you might want to invest in as well. Lighting. Of course, we have the free sun. You can use some existing fixtures wherever you are. So natural, lighting in a room, of course, table lamps, overhead lighting, whatever it is. You can make your own light. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Or you can invest in studio lighting. Now, that's going to be your most expensive option. You really don't need to go that way. So let's quickly talk about do-it-yourself. So this is something I built. I can't take credit for it. I'm going to give you the link to where you can make this. But this beauty right here, and I'll turn it on so you can see. Look at that. This is awesome. This is actually a piece of a shower curtain. This is just a scoop light Yeah, this is all stuff that you could buy. I bought all this stuff at Home Depot except for the tripod there. And you can do this for less than $100. So if you're concerned about lighting, you don't need to invest in a lot of stuff. If you just need to get some stands, which you can get on Amazon, I gave you the link for that. And if you watch this video, we'll take you directly through this. Do you have a question or we're stretching?
No, question.
Yes.
What kind of bulb is it?
You want to take a guess?
A bright one?
It's good. That's good. It's bright. But what you want to do is daylight. You want a daylight bulb. Why do we want a daylight bulb, people? Well, so it doesn't really matter. So if you had tungsten, your camera or your video, your smartphone would adapt to whatever color space that is. So, when we are in our houses, do our tungsten light look orange or it looks white when we're there? As soon as we step outside, everything looks blue, or when we're outside and everything looks normal and you step into your house, everything looks orange. But we all adapt. The cameras do the same thing. The beautiful thing about this is if you bought a bulb, to your question, and this was tungsten balanced and you were shooting in your house, in your dining room, and you were next to windows, guess what that light color is? That's daylight. If this was tungsten, which is the camera going to choose to make white? It can't make both of them. So if you know you're going to be shooting around a lot of daylight, you're going to want to use an LED bulb that's balanced for daylight. You can get balanced for really anything you want with the LEDs, and you're not going to want to put a shower curtain on a light here with your regular screw-in, incandescent, because guess what? You'll start a little fire. Okay, but this generates no heat. Okay, and you can literally make one of these for about $50. Okay, these are all the links. If you want to buy any of this stuff, you can see the prices I put up here ready for you. It costs literally nothing. Audio. You can use a built-in microphone. I'm not a big fan. External microphone, you want to use an external microphone. Here you go, a perfect example, right? Guilty as charged. Lavalier, that's what I'm using around my neck to record video here today. I hope you guys are okay with that. A digital audio recorder is a device, actually an iPhone is actually a digital audio recorder. If you use video memos on your iPhone is now a digital audio recorder. And we're going to talk about that as a cheat. And then, if you need audio in your video and you don't want to use your voice or you're doing something, you can get a voiceover artist, and they are inexpensive. There are tens of thousands of voiceover artists in the United States. You go to this website, Voice123, you tell them what you're willing to spend, you give them a script, it will be phenomenal, okay? So if you don't have the voice for film, that's the way to go. So here's the cheat. Came up with this the other day. So, when you want to have audio, so here's an external audio device like I have on my neck. This is a wired lavalier, right? You clip this to your neck, right? You got to plug this into something. Well, if you're doing a video, you don't want to be, and you're walking around, let's say you're on a job site or whatever you're doing, you don't want to have some long 30-foot cable going around with you while you're doing video. So what you can do is literally plug this in. I don't have enough hands here. You can plug this in directly into, this is my daughter's old, broken, as you can see by the screen, shattered, I don't know, iPhone 5, yeah, I think that's what it is. But I can put video memos on here, put the microphone into here, stick this in my back pocket. I suddenly have the world's cheapest wireless microphone. What do you think, guys? Cost you nothing other than investing $20 in a wired microphone, okay? Remember that one. That's a great one. So now, but the problem is if you shoot audio with your iPhone, with one iPhone, and you shoot the video with another, how does that all marry together all nice? Well, you can use a clapper or a slate, which is what you see in the movies, right? You can buy one of those if you want, but there's some cool software if you want to spend a little bit of money. This is under $300. It's called Pluralize, and it literally takes the two audio tracks, the one from the one phone, whatever the source is. It doesn't have to be iPhones, it could be digital SLRs, whatever. We use the software all the time with the work we do. We never record. So we're shooting right now with digital SLRs here. We are not recording audio from that at all. You never want to shoot audio from a digital SLR. Why? When it's changing focus, guess what? The lens makes a lot of noise. And guess what hears it? The microphone. So if you are going to use a digital SLR and you have no other choice other than that microphone, please turn off the motor on the lens and focus manually. Okay? But this is a great way to get around it.